and romantic and beautiful. I imagine very much like you, Sheila, dare I say it.
That's what we like to hear. That's why I phoned, Steve.
Oh, it's beautiful. Listen, as a wonderful treat for you, Rufus has just told me that he's got a Canadian joke. I haven't heard it. I don't know if it's going to offend you, but let's hear it. You'll be the verdict. You'll be the judge.
All right.
This is told with affection, Sheila, by the way. So
right.
it's about an English guy who lives in a Canadian log cabin to write his novel. And after about 6 months of writing the novel, his Canadian neighbour from the other side of the valley comes over and says, "Hey there, how are you? I just thought I'd pop over and introduce myself, see what you're doing." He says, "Well, I'm writing this novel." He says, "Listen, I'm having a bit of a party around my place on Saturday. Don't know if you want to come along." He says, "That'd be fun, that'd be lovely." He says, "Oh, I ought to warn you, there's sometimes quite a lot of heavy drinking in my kind of parties. Is that okay with you?" And he says, "Yeah, that'd be lovely. I'm quite a drink too. There's sometimes quite a lot of fighting at my kind of parties. How are you with that?" He goes, "Oh, I can hold my own in a fight. That's fine." He says, "Okay, I'll go then." "Oh, I ought to say too, sometimes there's quite a lot of rough sex at my kind of parties." And the English guy goes, "Well, that suits me fine. I haven't seen anyone in 6 months." He goes, "Okay, I'll see you Saturday." And he's just leaving, and the English guy goes, "Oh, wait, before you go, but what should I wear?" And the Canadian guy says, "Well, you can wear what you like. Just going to be the two of us."
Nice.
I got a laugh, didn't I?
Was that a sympathy laugh from Sheila?
It didn't sound like it.
I don't know,
I was very impressed with the West Coast Canadian accent.
It's the only one I can do, Sheila. I can't do East Coast for the life of me, but West Coast I'm safe.
Listen, I'm going to give you top marks for the telling of the story.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you top marks for the voice, certainly.
Yeah.
I thought the punchline was weak.
Was it?
I mean,
Dan and Harry didn't smile much either, did you?
I'm
think I
so
saw it
sorry,
coming.
Ruth, but I do feel like, as you've got an armoury of gags.
Yeah.
I'm thinking a new feature each week.
Yeah.
Great pub jokes from Rufus.
We'll call it better jokes than that one.
Who doesn't want to go out armed with a great pub joke once a
Yeah.
week? All right, so that's a new feature for you. I want you thinking about that, Rufus, for next time.
Okay.
Sheila, thank you very much. I'm sorry that the joke was mediocre. I apologise, but thank you. Your song more than made up for it. Thank you very much indeed, Sheila. Round of applause for her. We pretty much have to wrap the show up because we've got a cracking tune at the to end with here by the Earlies, a half Texan, half English band. It's called Wayward Son. That's pretty much the end of the show. Thanks to Dan, Harry, Rufus and Dave, to the special guest Adam Buxton. If you want to recommend a song to me, then you can check out the website bbc.co.uk/6music. Also go there if you're a lady and you think you might be able to become a potential Steve Show regular. Send in a tape. We do want a tape, so do that. And that's it. Thank you very much indeed to Sheila. Round of applause for the Steve Show. We'll be back next week. Yeah, just give the show as a conceptual idea. Round of applause.
BBC
6
Music.
From 1991, hit by the Sugar Cubes with, of course, Bjork, tiny little Bjork, weird little Bjork on vocals. It's the Steve Show, 2 hours of the very best music and thoughtful, intelligent discussion. No, April Fool, of course not. It's the same old witless twaddle and blokey sarcasm with me, Steve Merchant, and my gang of cronies willing to laugh at my every vague attempt at wit.
Brilliant.
Thanks very much. Actually, all my cronies aren't here this week. I thought the last few weeks it's been a bit dense, this show.
Yeah.
There's been an awful lot of personnel in the studio, so I've stripped us right back to the bare bones this week. Harry is with me. Little round of applause. Just a lonely smattering of applause. Harry's with me. Super posh Rufus will be joining us later, but he's he can't come in for the first half because he's currently having lunch with, quite possibly, and this is how posh he is, he's having lunch with his cousin Jennifer Loxton Peacock. Which
I'm
is,
sure he makes this up. That can't possibly be true.
Well, we shall probe him for information later because he's as I say, he's absurdly posh. If you've not heard us in the past, this week music as usual, a bit of back chat. I think it's nice to get back to basics. Of course, the original raison d'être of this show was just to play music and explore music and be passionate about it. So it's nice to occasionally just take a break from the sort of chit chat and the sideways look at life and just play some music. Bjork, of course, we started with there when she was in the Sugar Cubes. Have you bought a Bjork record in the last 15 years?
I've not. That was the last song Bjork featured on that doesn't make me physically ill. And
Really? Oh, you slammed Bjork this early on in the show.
oh, it's just so much yodeling and wailing, and I can't hear what she's saying, Steve. I don't know what she's saying. And that album as well, I bought that album on the back of the single. Yet another time that I've been burnt. Bought the single, bought the album. The album was absolute twaddle. Some bloke shouting all the time with that one single, which I already had.
Sure.
I was furious.
That almost sounds like something we should shout out to the crowds with. What are the albums you bought off of the strength of a single, and then. But do you know what? I think every DJ's done that, so let's not bother.
Yeah,
let's
probably
just
right.
scratch that. Let's nix that straight away. There's a tune here which we're going to play. I've not heard it yet. I know you dug it out of the bargain bin last week.
Six Music bin.
Yeah, there's a bin at Six Music which people just I mean, maybe they're giving away too much here, but yeah, anything which I guess they get sent hordes and hordes of stuff and they just throw it in this bin, and you've been rifling through it in a desperate attempt to get something free.
Well, yeah, basically the Six Music office, everyone who works there get every record they ever want for free, and there's a big cardboard box full of the crap that they don't want. And what happens before this show, every week, I get in an hour early and I burrow through it like some kind of music tramp and dig out whatever I can find that looks quite nice. And I dug out this Air Traffic single, and it's very, very good.
All right, let's have a listen. Charlotte on the Steve Show, BBC Six Music. That was one of the tunes that Harry dug out of the bargain bin here at Six Music. Actually, I've also been rifling through my hole this week. I discovered last week that I got a pigeonhole, and so I've been exploring that. And I've dug out some music which has been sent to me, and we shall be investigating that, giving it a kind of once-over. Basically, shamelessly stealing Steve Lamac's round table idea, and I've run out of ideas a long time ago, and we'll be doing that later because there's some interesting stuff. There's also a lot of tact, but yeah, we'll explore that later. But Air Traffic, you're raving about them, aren't you? You're singing their praises. You love them, don't you?
This is the chronology of my Air Traffic love affair. Day 1, pick up single from bargain bin. Day 2, get home from work, play it, love it. Day 3, go on the old internet, find out they're playing in London, buy tickets. Saw them last Monday playing at Dingwalls in Camden. Now, you know me, I love band merchandise. I can't stop buying tat if I go to a gig. So I went to the gig, nice t-shirt, webcam users will see that I've got it on at the moment.
Yeah, it's nice.
Bought the t-shirt before they started playing. Now, turns out that single's brilliant. A lot of the other stuff sounds a bit like Keane.
Ooh.
So now, what do I do? Do I wear the t-shirt before a lot of other people know them and they become unfashionable? Or do I hang on? Do I just not wear the t-shirt? Or what do I do?
Well, the obvious thing to do there is, for those that aren't on the webcam, the t-shirt appears to be a motif of a audio cassette that has been kind of dismantled, so you see each layer of the audio
great
cassette.
t-shirt.
That's very nice. Then at the bottom it says Air Traffic. What I'm thinking is just cut out with scissors Air Traffic, thus exposing a little bit of the midriff. Sexy, every lady would agree with that, but thus keeping the elegant design.
Yeah, or I could just lose one word and it could be air.
Could be the band
Or
Air.
it could be
Or
Traffic.
it could be Traffic.
Yeah.
Either way. Oh, I think, because that, you can probably just scratch that off with a nail. That's probably been cheaply put on top. I don't know how much these t-shirts cost.
Oh, the markup must be unbelievable. That's where they make all the money.
I've made some hideous errors in the past. Once I did rush out and buy a Divine Comedy t-shirt, which, whatever you think of the Divine Comedy, you know what I mean, you're not really pulling the ladies, but there's a picture of a man who looked a little bit like me. So from a distance it looked as though I just had a t-shirt with myself on it.
Because the irony is, you like the Divine Comedy, he's quite a dandy, he dresses very well. You're wearing a t-shirt with his face.
T-shirt, I think I got it in it was one of those sort of shops where, like, it might have been TK Maxx, but it wasn't even as upmarket as that. And it just bear in mind that I'd never listened to any jazz, but it was a long sleeve t-shirt that was blue that just sort of said, it was just kind of jazz. It sort of had nondescript jazz musicians on it that may have been
Amazing.
Charlie Parker, but I suspect weren't because of copyright issues. So it just had things like groove and kind of musical notes and a saxophone. It was like a kind of a celebration of jazz in t-shirt form, but only for people whose only jazz collection in their selection is kind of a CD called I Love Jazz, but it would actually be I Heart Jazz that they got in a petrol station.
That t-shirt would tell everyone what they needed to know about young Steve when they saw you wearing it.
Exactly.
Here's a man who
He's got
likes
no idea.
jazz, kinda.
But the problem is, that's that thing when you're a kid, is that you're trying to sell to the world who you are, or the vision of yourself that you would like to be. And so alongside jazz, I also had a t-shirt which was a Salvador Dali t-shirt. But instead of just being a picture of Salvador Dali, it had taken many of the Dali-esque motifs, the eyes, the melting clocks, and just done them all over the shirt. So down the arm, melting clocks, a picture of Dali that sort of then became a thing with giant legs. And it was just, again, it's sort of, look at me, ladies, I'm interested. I've got a t-shirt that explores my love of Salvador Dali. It's just but talking of clothing and what not to wear. Last night I was at an event. I'm not going to name check. It was a nice event. It was a charity event. They know who they are, and it was great. They were celebrating some important money being raised, and it was excellent. But
Any of that money yours?
sadly, no. I did pop. I pumped 20 notes in the.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. When I say 20 notes, I mean 20 pounds.
Yeah. Not 20
not
big notes.
20 50s. That would be
No,
absurd.
that's madness.
That'd be flash. And I gave to Comic Relief as well, as you know. Oh yeah.
You can't keep
can't keep
referring to that.
giving.
You can't live off that Comic Relief donation.
I cannot keep giving like this. Harry, it's going to exhaust me. But anyway, so we go in there and anyway, I arranged for a couple of friends to come down. And this was a kind of major place in London. You know, I get a call from them saying we can't get in. They won't let us in. The bouncer won't let us in. I rush downstairs. It's the usual nonsense. You don't expect this anymore. You feel you've reached a certain point where the bouncer rules don't apply anymore. You know,
Yeah.
I've been on the telly. You know, come on, don't be embarrassed about it. I've got a little bit of profile. You expect to be able to walk into a venue and not have to worry about wearing the right shoes and so on. And they're smartly dressed, my friend Nikita, smartly dressed, you know. Okay, so she had some sort of trainers on, but they were smart ones, you know, it wasn't, come on.
That's bouncer gold, that is. They
and the other
love
friend
that.
the other friend had a jacket, but underneath it, which was a t-shirt. Oh, the guy went berserk. Crazy. But what was weird about it was, even when the managers came down, they couldn't seem to persuade the bouncer. It was like he had
He's in
total
charge.
control.
Yeah.
He just, overruled everyone. I couldn't get in. I was trying to say things loudly like, I just hope that Noel Gallagher comes down in shoes. In the hope that he'd go, you got Noel Gallagher coming down? I mean, I don't know Noel Gallagher, but my hope was that he'd overhear it. And so, of course, I couldn't get them in, so we had to just leave. But, of course, the thing is, I stormed off in a huff, in the hope that he'd sort of realise and just, I've made a terrible mistake. One of the most glamorous people here. That man gave £20. I can't let him go. But no, of course, that's the problem with bouncers, that they don't care. It doesn't matter who you are, they don't care.
Doesn't give a monkey's.
They're people with no authority or no say in life. They're people who in life generally go around, they've got, nothing going on in their lives, but for those few hours on a Saturday and a Friday night, they are the kings, truly, of the world.
They run it.
This is what so frustrates me, is the fact that you think that I don't have to play by those rules anymore, and it doesn't make any difference.
See, I expect not to be let in anywhere. If I do get let in, it's almost a disappointment. You get in and it's not as good as you think.
But what angers me is this rule. They're hanging on to this idea that the shoes someone's wearing are any indication of whether they're going to behave themselves in a club.
Yeah.
It seems to me that, you don't get the police saying, well, what have you found here, Johnson? Well, I've just found it's a bloody corpse of this woman, and there's a man here. He's just screaming, I killed her, I killed her, I killed the bitch, with a knife in his hand. Well, what trousers is he wearing? Well, he's wearing some chinos and a lovely pair of moccasins. Well, it can't have been him.
No,
is there anyone here with trainers? They're the obvious culprit. For goodness sake, there's a man running. It's just absurd. Since when do trainers denote, wild craziness? Really.
Since the dawn of time, apparently.
Well, seemingly so. Yeah. I'll tell you what I've done now. I've angered and infuriated every bouncer across London.
Oh, they don't care about you, Steve.
Well, clearly not. That's what I've discovered. But what are your run-ins with bouncers and doormen? 64046 stephen.6music@bbc.co.uk. I'm interested to know if there's any ways I can kind of circumvent the bouncer, other than because these guys were on the guest list. I should point that out as well.
Really?
They're on the guest list. It made no difference. 64046 stephen.6music@bbc.co.uk. Share my hatred of bouncers on today's Steve Show. From her album Rabbit Fur Coat, one of the greatest talents in music at the moment, in my opinion, Jenny Lewis with the Watson Twins and Rise Up with Fists, the thing that I'm encouraging you to do now with all bouncers across the nation, although I suspect probably not a good idea. The one thing they do have, of course, mighty fists. That's the nature of the bouncer. I don't want to slag the bouncers off. There are many. This tip I've always discovered is if you're getting on alright with them, always make sure you get their name, and then when you leave, say, see you later, Charlie.
Really?
Yeah, they love it. They love it.
No,
Yeah.
see, I've tried being friendly with them before, and they see right through me.
Yeah, that's because they can tell you're not sort of a media bigwig like myself, whereas they can respect that. But do you remember when Harry and I were in America once?
We had a few run-ins, didn't we?
We had a few run-ins. I'd pulled some strings, and I've got our names on some guest lists.
Yeah.
There were people. I didn't want to name drop, but these were kind of big TV
Huge
people, big
people,
names,
yeah.
and they pulled some strings for me. And so we pulled up. Then we went to this hot club at the time, and we walked up to there, and we said, yeah, excuse me, we're on the guest list. The guy went, which guest list? I went, well, just on. I said, how many guest lists are there? He went, 2. I went, could you check both? He went, no, I haven't got time.
Yeah.
I thought, well, okay. We stood there. Nothing was going on. It was just 3 people now stood, separated by a rope. He had nothing happening.
Yeah, he had 2 clipboards, which he wouldn't look at.
Yeah. I thought, well, it's going to be under M. Have a look there, or possibly S, depending on how how your system works. But he refused to look, and it was so embarrassing because people would come up, they'd go through the rope, and we'd have
Yeah.
to just stand there like a couple of
It
lemons.
was hideous.
And then I had a number to call if there was any problems. Phone the number, that was on answer phone. Getting more irate with them. Don't you know who I am? And so eventually we sidled away. It was
Yeah,
too, it was too
it was all
embarrassing.
very sad.
We went to another club that we were also on the guest list for. We pulled up there.
They didn't want to let
They
us
didn't
in.
want to let us in. We walked up to that. We said we're on the guest list. She went, I don't think so. I said, can you have a look? So she had a look. She said, I do apologise. You are on the list. She let us in. We went in there.
It
Man
was
alive.
terrifying.
It was the most intimidating place I have ever been in. It was every single person in there, including, and the bar staff, the most attractive people you've ever seen. I mean, like, I'm talking
was,
Vogue
yeah.
cover shoot quality.
I
It was-
didn't know what to do. It was awful.
We just stood there gulping at these people, and the person who not let us in came in, didn't she, and apologised,
yeah.
which was great. That's exactly what you want. That's what you want. A bouncer to come and say, I do apologise.
Because then there's us in there, these two freaks, and everyone's thinking they've got no right to be in there, but all of a sudden, you know, the management's coming in and being nice to us.
And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking.